a cozy mystery involving animals. There's a bear police officer. The fox is the journalist. There's a hummingbird who's a gossip. There's a crow who owns the bookstore. It's happy! Teeth and sinew and spit kind of a thing. I don't know if I expressed that well. He's always got a bowler hat. It's the boy in the bowler hat. He did this with his bowler hat. Bowler hat, bowler hat, bowler hat, bowler hat, bowler hat. Okay, this ought to be fun. Hi, my name is Gabriella Battelle, author of the Don't series and the upcoming Gothic fantasy mystery Ending. You'll hear lots about that as you continue on to my channel. I would love to have you here. If you could like and subscribe, that would be awesome. I owe you an apology right off the bat. Not going to say anything more than that. This is my March wrap-up. I read this in February, and I did not mention it in February. Apparently, it was February 28th, so it was towing the line of March, and Goodreads got confused. I can't explain it. Here you go. I reread Emily Wilde's Map of the Otherlands, which is such a love. I love this book, even more than the first one, because I actually was genuinely very scared the first time that I read this book that I was not going to like it at all. I mean, there were a couple of characters where I was like, am I going to have to deal with them for an entire book? And then about 5 pages after I made that comment to myself, I was like, wait, on second thought, these are actually great characters. They're lovely people. They're all still quirky and dynamic, and their little group is amazing. The ante was upped, the danger was up, everything started clicking together, and I always love my favorite part of this book, even more than the first one, is that Emily is even more active in the climax. You know, in the first one, she is active, but this one she's more active. She is completely the hero. She is going into realms. She is saving fairy cats. She is defeating half-blood fairy queens. It's amazing. I love this book. Realizing I didn't tell you what it was about, this is the second book to the Emily Wilde series. The first one, she and her infuriatingly handsome, lovely fairy banished king colleague Wendell Bamblebee, they had all kind of shenanigans doing research on fairies in Scandinavia. This time they are trying to find a fairy door for him because, as I mentioned, he is an exiled fairy king. He's trying to get back to Ireland, but he needs like a secret back way in. So that's what they're doing here. Map of the Otherlands. And I was going to try and read the third book. I have it here. Emily Wilde's Compendium of Lost Tales. I was going to try and read that in March, but I chickened out because I love the first two so much that I'm a little bit afraid that I'm not going to be as enamored with this one. And okay, I'll readily admit it. Here's the main problem. All right. These are no spice books, which are awesome. I love them. But in this one, there was like definitely a fade to black, which completely caught me and my friend off guard. Like, only for the fact that it didn't even seem like something Emily would do. Like, it just didn't seem in character for her. And it was so fade to black, which I appreciate 100%, that, you know, my friend and I thought we were crazy. We were like, no, this is just my dirty mind. I made this up. Well, it did. Okay. And then, though, I don't know, Wendell just cracked not a dirty joke. I don't want to call it a dirty joke, but it was a joke. He cracked a joke, and I'm like, please don't let this be the rest of the book. But I'm holding out hope. I have already cracked into this. I've started it. I love the new characters. I don't know how Heather Fawcett does it, where it's like, I am enamored with these characters. Every single one of them is so good. I have never read a series where I actually actively like every character so much. It hasn't happened before. So I'm going to do it. I'm just stalling. Now me and my friend are going to buddy read it. My friend and I are going to buddy read it. So yeah, you'll hear about that soon. But anyway, there's my apology for not talking about this book back in my February wrap-up. And now let's move on to my March wrap-up, which hopefully is not missing any, but I can't know, and I'm not going to know because I'm not going to double-check myself. So let's start out with the first one, which is Brideshead Revisited by Evelyn Waugh. Now, you guys, let me follow it. This follows, hold on, what is his name? Ryder. Give me a second. This follows Ryder, who, when we start out in the book, he is a military man in World War II or right after World War II. And then he's looking back and reminiscing on his college years in Oxford and the friendships that he makes and his experience with this family who are Catholic. And this is going to be a great one to talk about. So it's a beautiful slice of life friendship story, finding yourself, finding, do I believe in anything? How do I believe in it? Day-to-day life. It's beautiful, first of all. But also, first of all, thank you to my parish priest for recommending this to me, because there ain't no way in the sky I would have picked this up on my own. Never. Wouldn't have picked it up. But then my priest, he was like, hey, he actually watched the show, which apparently is very, very faithful to the book. And he was like, I think you might like this. So I was like, okay, I'll give it a shot. And it is phenomenal. The writing is very down to earth. It's still got that, kind of old-ish, timey, grandfatherly British kind of a tone to it. So it's not written in contemporary American or anything like that. But it's still very easy to follow. It's very soothing to read. And I highly recommend the audiobook, because in the show, the main character writer is played by Jeremy Irons. Scar, we love him. And the audiobook is read by Jeremy Irons, and it is perfect. So I enjoyed listening to Jeremy Irons read Evelyn Waugh's great, I hope I'm saying that right. I think that's how you say it. His very down to earth, easy flowing writing. He's very witty. I think he has this way of capturing day-to-day life in a way that is so absolutely relatable. And also, I don't know, there's something genuine about it. Because I mean, when you have a slice of life book, what tends to happen, what I've tended to see happen, is that, you pick some characters and you crank the quirkiness up to like 10, and you just zero in on all these really strange things, because all of us, I think, deep down at our core, are strange. It's what makes us beautiful. It's our little sparkle. But you just dial in on these. And I feel like Evelyn Waugh does that too, because I mean, the things that happen are just so funny. You can't make these things up, but you can actually see them happening. And so even though he's got these quirks, you had to have gotten this from real life, because nobody can make these things up, it doesn't feel so over exaggerated, and it's mingled with things that are familiar. So it's really the soothing thing. And then the best part was the discussion of the Catholic faith, because, okay, you've been on this channel for any amount of time. You know I'm Catholic, and I'm never going to shut up about it. And you also know that I have a very hard time with the way that we are always depicted in media, because we are always the bad guy, or we are always weird. It is like there is no in between. You are either the strangest, most unapproachable, unlikable character, or you are downright evil if you're Catholic in a book most of the time. Pretty much all of the time. I can think of 2 instances where that's not it. In fact, I just read a couple where I was like, dealing with that. Anyway, but this one felt like it was written by somebody who actually knew Catholics, and who has actually interacted with Catholics and the Catholic Church, and had an appreciation for it. I don't know for a fact whether Evelyn Waugh was Catholic, like whether he actually believed it, but just the way he expressed his family, I was like, yep, that is absolutely a Catholic family, who were all individual people and individual characters. Sebastian was just okay, he was the part where the quirky turned up to 10. He walks around with this giant teddy bear that he like brushes and says things to, which probably I've done. Like, if I haven't done it, I will do it one day. Just give it a minute. And he's my baby. I love Sebastian in this story. He does believe in the faith. He says it. He says, like, I do believe in the incarnation, Jesus coming down to earth, and that's why we celebrate Christmas. And yeah, I believe all these beautiful things. I'm just not sure I'm ready for what that then asks of me. And I was like, oh, I feel that. And then there was Julia, who is Sebastian's either twin sister or just his sister, but she sort of like, she just kind of goes through the motions. Like, she's like, yeah, I'm Catholic, I suppose this is what you're supposed to do, but she would rather be in the party life. She would rather be out there. She wants to be a socialite. She's got this like goal for her life, and she's wants to go after it. There's the mom, who is like very pious to the point of clingy and kind of overbearing. There's the dad, who is just off with another woman, like completely having a different affair. There's the oldest brother, Brideshead, who is like, he's just trying. Like, he just is trying to follow his faith and do the thing you're supposed to do. And it sounds like, I don't know if it's just me. If any of you have read this book, drop it down in the comments what you thought of each of these characters. But to me, I felt like he was just trying, and it wasn't coming easily to him, which again is like something I can sympathize with. And then finally there was Cordelia, who is just a love. I mean, she's a spitfire. She is bold. She's funny, she's a little bit naughty, but oh my goodness. So this family with all these different people who were just people who all are connected to this faith, they're all interacting with it in different ways, and they are all bringing it in some way to Charles just for the fact that Charles is kind of there. Like, he's just watching this family be their family with their faith and how they're each interacting with it. And again, it felt like someone who actually has for once in their life interacted with a variety of Catholic people and saw the different struggles, saw the different things that are great, the different things that come quickly to some people, like Sebastian, faith, it was there. It was that he believed it. He was having a hard time making that next step. And then you have Julia, who the belief isn't really there, but her personality was very, you want to do the thing, you got to do the thing. You just do it. You do it. And that came in later. And just oh my goodness. I will stop now. It was very, very good. I loved it, loved it, loved it. There were moments where it got a little slow, and my personal genre generally is not what would have been contemporary fiction, so just people doing things. So that tells you, I enjoyed it so much. Highly recommend. I think I gave this 4 stars. This is a solid 4 stars, maybe 4.25. And just again, it probably could have been 5 stars if it was just my genre. It's just a little bit different than what I normally read. It's not the thing that kind of clicks in me and changes my brain chemistry, but I will recommend it to everyone. And I still have to watch the show. So we'll see. I can just watch Jeremy Irons for hours and hours and hours straight. The second book I read was A Letter to the Luminous Deep by Sylvie Cathrall, and this was so much fun. I don't have so much to say about it. This follows E, they live in this world that has it's either just a water world, like it's a different world that is completely water, and I think this might have been what actually happened, it's this world after flooding has happened, so the entire world is just based around water. And E lives in this underwater house, and she starts interacting via letter to this, he's a professor of something. Something sea. I think identifies new species in the ocean. So she is interacting with him as a pen pal. His name is Henry, and they start to fall in love. It's a lovely love story. But that's just what happens through the book. What's actually happening at the beginning is that Henry's brother and E's sister are mourning that those two have disappeared, and so those two are connecting via the equivalent of email or text message or whatever. Those two are interacting and then going through all these letters between the two to try and figure out what happened. It was such a blast. At the beginning, I thought it was going to be a 5-star read for me because it really reminded me of the 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, which is one of my favorite classics of all time. And I know you're probably like, how is that one of your okay, I like undersea things, and I am okay with people just listing without any description species upon species upon species of coral and fish and shells and other stuff. I enjoyed it. It was also a little mysterious to me. I don't know. That's a discussion for another time. It was heavily reminding me of that, except written in a way that's more enjoyable kind of a thing. So there's actually people interacting, motion going on. Not everything is just blocks of description of under the sea. And also it's this new world. So there's world building going on, the different cultures and the different schools. Like this world is just broken up into 3 different universities, and those are the 3 cultures of the world. It was really, really fun to just sink into and interact with, and the audiobook was fantastic. I don't think it would have been as fun. I still think it would have been massively fun, but I don't think it would have been as fun if I wasn't listening to just these snarky, cute, lovely, wholesome actors just interacting with each other and sending each other emails. It felt very wholesome. I don't know. It makes my heart happy. It really did. So the reason that I didn't quite give it 5 stars was because there was a point about like halfway through or 2/3 of the way through where we kind of just side quested onto this entire different side plot about the sister and her girlfriend that she was researching on, and their kind of undersea something. It was a research expedition. I can't remember precisely what it was for. I know it peripherally connected to the big thing that was revealed at the end. It just felt like we were side questing a lot right there, and it didn't seem to connect as strongly as I would need it to be for me to then just shoot off when I was really wanting to hear more about Henry and E. and I was instead hearing about these other characters, it was kind of like, I want to get back to Henry and E. So I feel like it could have just been trimmed down. And the ending to me was good. I kind of knew it was coming at some point. Like, it was foreshadowed well enough, and I was putting the pieces together that it was like, oh, yep, that's what happened. So that's why it's a 4-star. And I think I'm going to keep it at a solid 4-star. I think that's a good number. But yeah, that was me and Letter to the Luminous Deep. I am going to wind up reading the second book soon, which I don't know what it's called. I'll put it here. I'm definitely going to listen to the audiobook of that one too. So that's 2 books. Now moving on to the third book is Shady Hollow by Juneau Black. Okay, this is Zootopia for adults. This is exactly what my poor little heart needed for no reason. It's not like I was sad. It was my birthday. And I had just finished A Letter to the Luminous Deep, so I was coming off of a happy moment with that. And then I got to Shady Hollow, and it's about this fox named Vera Vixen. She's a journalist. There's a murder in the town, and it's a cozy mystery involving animals. There's a bear police officer. The fox is the journalist. There's a hummingbird who's a gossip. There's a crow who owns the bookstore. It's happy. It made me happy in a way that, again, I did not even know that I needed. It did for me what Zootopia originally did, so I gave it 5 stars solid. If I'm being stingy, I might give it a 4.75. But it's 5. It's so perfect. It's so happy. It's lovely. And it even had the mystery going on. I didn't guess the person that it was. I remember reading reviews and everybody was like, that was so easy to guess. And I was like, I didn't guess it. So anyway, that's me, Shady Hollow. I have been itching and dying to read the next one, but I also have fear of running out of these books. So I'm going to save this for the worst rainy day imaginable. Not rainy day like sad, just, I don't know. When I say saving it for a rainy day, I just mean the perfect time. I'm going to wait and save it for the perfect time because that was a wonderful, lovely book. Okay, second to last is The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern. I finally read the thing. I finally got on the train. I finally know what you were all talking about. This follows 2 characters. I almost called her Sophie, but her name is Celia and Marco, who are magicians. And I mean, like, they actually do things to the world. They manipulate the world in amazing ways, and they are on opposing sides of this bet/competition where you just keep upping your magic. You keep upping the ante in your magic until nobody knows. That's part of the suspense. That's part of the mystery. But of course, they slowly start falling in love after years and years and years. And believe it or not, don't come for me, I gave this 3 stars. I did not hate it. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the atmosphere, because the thing about this book that everybody will warn you of is no plot to be found whatsoever at all. And I would agree mostly. I've actually read a book with less plot. I think this one has even less plot than The Night Circus, and I loved this one. This is up there, top 5 books of the year so far. So anyway, The Night Circus. I enjoyed the beautiful writing. I enjoyed the beautiful imagery. I think I probably enjoyed the imagery just a hair fraction less than most people do, only for the fact that it is very much a classic kind of 1800s England type of magic. Like, whatever type of magic you picture, that's it. I tend to like whatever is in Nocturne, which is a whole lot more kind of gritty, unexpected, teeth and sinew and spit kind of a thing. I don't know if I expressed that well, but it's just The Night Circus's kind of description is a tad too like pretty and ethereal for what I tend to go for. I tend to be more like in the mud, but I still loved that. And I loved seeing the dual timelines. I really enjoyed the characters, particularly Bailey and the twins. I lived for those 3. Those 3 were my babies, and I was actually wanting to follow them more than I was wanting to follow Celia and Marco, just because they were kind of classic. You know, it's like Celia, she's super powerful, and Marco, he's super powerful. They're slowly but surely falling in love. You know, they're pretty classic. So then you're probably asking, why in the world did you only give it 3 stars? Like, what I'm describing now probably would have been a 4-star book. All right. Here's a problem. So my friend who told me to read this, which I appreciate, so thank you, friend, she told me that if you just wait and get to the end, you're going to see everything just tie together and connect in this exquisite way. And, I'm picturing something like Magnus Archives 4, which I'm not going to spoil right now. I was picturing something like Magnus Archives 4, where everything had an irreplaceable purpose. I did not find that kind of an ending for the Night Circus, and I'll explain to you why. Now, these are going to be spoilers, so I'll leave this symbol up until I'm done talking about spoilers. But, okay, so the big part of this circus is that there's a hearth fire. There's like a fire at the center that keeps it running. Otherwise, the people who are inextricably connected to it are gonna die, or they're not gonna be doing well or something. So that fire goes out. And it's so funny. The whole time they're talking about Marco, he's always got a bowler hat. It's the boy in the bowler hat. He did this with his bowler hat. Bowler hat, bowler hat, bowler hat, bowler hat, bowler hat. And I was like, okay, the bowler hat is gonna save the day. And I was being facetious. I was ironically saying the bowler hat is gonna save the day, but I kid you not, they actually took the bowler hat and some other scraps of material that had been, mentioned. Like there was a tarot card, I think, or a playing card. And then there was some yarn that had been tying a book together. And they dropped it in the thing and lit it, and the fire lit. And I'm like, great. But could you have did it have to be those, why was each of those things necessary? Or was it just kind of like, hey, I mentioned these things, here's how they can be useful at the end versus how they must be useful at the end? I hope that I explained that well. Then there were other parts of the ending that I didn't really love. So there was this character named Isabel. And Isabel has had a massive crush on Marco for the longest time. And for a minute, I thought that maybe Isabel was like Celia in disguise or something like that, and that's where this was going. And she's had a massive crush on her because on the first day that they met, Marco kissed her like hard against a wall or something like that. I was like, okay, so, but apparently decades upon decades upon decades upon decades later, as they've all been working in this circus, Isabel finally figures out that Marco's not actually in love with her. He loves Celia. And so she this whole time had been helping those two keep the circus together. And so then she got scorned, and hell hath no fury like a woman scorned, or a man scorned, I would say. And she cuts the ties, the yarn that they burn later, she cuts the ties that have been helping to keep the circus together. And then the circus starts to collapse. And I'm like, wait, this massive plot point where everything starts to go south is because this woman, after decades of tiptoeing around him in a non-certain crush, finally realizes that this is not a thing and is hurt. Like, I myself didn't get that. Feel free to disagree with me in the comments. Do what you want to do. And then the last thing was that this competition is never explained. And there's never any, resolution. There's no, hey, maybe we shouldn't have competitions that cause two people to hurt each other, which I'm keeping a little bit of a spoiler on that. None of that. It's just kind of like the two instigators just went along with their life. There was no explanation, which I suppose it's supposed to be mysterious like the Night Circus. I can see that, but I just didn't feel satisfied enough. And then one final thing that didn't quite work for me as much as it works for other people. So as I was mentioning in the spoiler section, but I don't think I mentioned before that, this takes place over decades, like from when they're middle schoolers-ish to all the way up through their 30 going on 40 or something like that. This is a long time. The problem is, so with the romance, they're kept separate for a long while, which is good. Slow burn. Love that. And then they start to fall in love, which is great. But even though I mentally know time has passed, they only had a few conversations before they are madly in love and getting into that little spicy bit I skipped. So in my mind, I knew that it made sense that they had spent all this time falling in love, but we only saw a couple pieces of it, and so it felt faster. Like, I think they have their first genuine, possibly in love conversation about halfway through the book, and the thing that they are madly in love by the 3/4 mark, kind of. So it feels like they fell in love within a quarter of the book, even though I know years and years have passed. So that didn't work for me. And one other thing, slight spoiler. Back to the ending. Why did it have to be Bailey? I didn't understand why it had to be Bailey. It could have been the twins. Why didn't the twins keep the thing going? I don't know. Comments. Let me know. Please, you guys. Maybe I misunderstood something. Maybe I just don't get it. I still think it was beautifully written. And the last line where you had the card, the business card, and then you flipped it over, like, because it started back in 18 something. And then at the very end, the last line where you flip the business card over and it was like info@thenightcircus.com, made me happy. That, I don't know what that did in me, but it satisfied something inside me that I did not know needed satisfaction. So there's me with a 3-star for the Night Circus. I enjoyed it. I would recommend it to people. I just don't know if it's for everybody. And I'm not going to go so far as to say that everything just kind of comes together and clicks at the end. Everything comes together. I just don't know if it clicks, at least in the way that I like it. And finally, we'll keep this one short and sweet. I re-listened to the Magnus Archives Season 2. I love Jonathan Sims. I love him being suspicious. I love him not talking to Martin and having issues with Tim and just and meeting Daisy and Basira. If you have watched my channel at all, you probably already know what the Magnus Archives is about, but I'll give a quick recap. Jonathan Sims works in London at the Magnus Institute where they study hauntings to see which ones are real, which ones are not, and then the reals start to creep forward. And season 2 just ups the ante with all of that, and I enjoyed it. I enjoyed myself. But I'm not going to talk anymore about it because I am going to do a season summary video soon. Like I said, I was going to do the season 1 summary soon back in my February wrap up. So yeah, that's me. If you even remember what you read back in March, drop me down in the comments. Let me know what you thought about it. Let me just know the title. If you have any recommendations, let me know. Thank you so much for being here today. Have a great day. God bless. Bye-bye.